Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Cucu Cahyati. I'm from English Education Students 2019. I live in Brebes, Central Java, and it's really nice to know you all. In this video, I would like to explain you the difference between informative speech and persuasive speech. So, without any further ado, let's get started. The first is the difference between informative speech and persuasive speech. So, what is informative speech? According to O'Hare, Rubenstein, and Stewart, informative speech is a speech simply to inform or communicate knowledge, while persuasive speech is a specific type of speech in which the speaker has a goal to convincing the audience to accept his or her points of view. The speech is arranged in such a way as to hopefully cause the audience to accept all or part of expressed way. Informative speech and persuasive speech actually related but distinct types of speeches. The difference is only lies in the ends of the goals of the speakers. While we know that in the persuasive speech, the goal is not only give an information to the audience, but also convincing the audience to accept a point of view, a concept, or something. While in informative speech, the goal is only to give an understanding of information to the audience without anything, without trying to convincing the readers to believe or to do something. The second is the characteristic of informative speech and persuasive speech. Now, let us begin with the characteristic of informative speech. The first is provide new information. Since we know from the explanations before that informative speech, it's kinds of speech that tell or informs knowledge. So, of course, the content is a lot of information and knowledge in it. The second is provide new insight or ways of thinking. For example, when the first heated coronavirus attacked our country, we were panicked. We didn't know how to do. We didn't have any idea how to cope or how to deal with that. But since we watched the TV news or YouTube on how to deal with the coronavirus, directly we got an idea or we got an insight how to do it. Like, yeah, we have to, from that information, it tells that we have to wear the mask, we need to wash our hands oftenly, and we need to stay away from the people. So it's clear those informations are get right after we watch the informations on the TV shows or news. Right? Number three is contents of introductions, body, and conclusions. In introductions, it usually tell the backgrounds from the informations that you want to share to your audience, and in the body, it's the main points of informations that you want to share, and in the conclusions is a brief explanations from the whole story that you have told to your audience. And the fourth is not less than 5 minutes. Actually, there is no exact time on how much you have to talk or to share your information to the people, but normally people speech just not less than 5 minutes. Now let us move to the characteristic of persuasive speech. The first is change effect. Since we know that the goals of the persuasive speech is to convincing the audience to accept his or her point of view, so in order to get that, you need to change the effect too. You need to implement new ideas, new concept in the people mindset. And the second is build your point arguments. Alright, nowadays people are not stupid. Nowadays people are not easily to believe on something without any evidence or proofs about that. So yeah, in order to get a good persuasive speaker, we need to build an argument that is studied the layers after layers. It can be the fact, evidence, or something like that. We can get it from the article, news, and etc. The third is studied positions. For example, in the terms of debate situations, we need to know whether we are in a pro or a contra, whether we are the government side or the contra side. So the first thing that we have to do is which line we are. And the fourth is use pious appeal like pathos, ethos, and logos. I'm sure that your lectures already explain you about this, but yeah, the pathos means the emotions. in order to get people attention, a people heart, you have to use a pure heart too. You have to show your purest emotions, so the people or the audience will just impressed with that kinds of thing. And the ethos means like the characteristic and ethic. Yeah, of course, that is to be the ethic. When you serve for the informations, you just can't just like an arrogant or something like that, but there's an ethic and how is to be good in a persuasive speaker. And the last is the logos, the reasoning, using the logic reasonings about that. Like you can also show your anger, your love, your empathy, or something like that, so people just so your informations, or your persuasive informations will just like really touch in people's heart, and that's really important. And the five is influence the audience, right? Persuasive means the influence. You have to influence the speaker to accept your ideas, to accept your concept. Like you can use your emotion, your gestures, your arguments, so the people will influence it by your concept or informations. And that's really important in persuasive speech. And number six is change a belief. All right, actually the change the fake and change the belief is like the same. The last is the examples both of the materials from informative speech and persuasive speech. The first is the examples of informative speech. It's like describing an object, explaining a project, or clarify a concept. For example, when your lectures give you explanations about the materials, so in these kinds of situations, your lectures are due the informative speech. And the very last is the example of persuasive speech. So, for example, when you do the debate competitions, you want to win the debate competition, you have to convincing the educator that your arguments is right and good. So, in these kinds of situations, you do the persuasive speech. Or the second situation is when the lawyer wants to win the case, so she use the arguments. In this kinds of situation, she used the persuasive speech. And so this is the last of the explanations. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm sorry for all the mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.